the Thomaston Zoning Board of Appeals to order. We'll start with the approval of the minutes from November 17th. I did review them and I did not see anything that I thought needed to be changed, amended. Any comments from anybody else?
I did glance at them. This is Christine. I did glance at them, not very carefully, but I did glance at them. I didn't see anything that popped out either as being incorrect.
Okay. Tom, Rob, or Matt, do you need more time to review the minutes, or are you ready?
I'm fine.
They appeared to be fine.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion then.
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes as distributed.
Okay, just as a reminder, since we're in the brave new world of virtual, if you can identify yourself, commission members, when you speak and when you make a motion and when you're voting.
Okay, Tom Langless, I will approve the minutes of our last meeting.
I'll second that motion. This is Christine.
Okay, so it's been moved by Tom and seconded by Christine that we accept the minutes as presented, minutes of November 17th. All in favor?
Aye.
I guess okay, was that, I'm sorry, was that Tom?
Tom, yes.
Tom, okay. Rob? Rob, are you on mute? Okay, well, we'll go on. Christine?
Yeah, this is Christine. Yes.
Okay, Matt?
Matt, yes.
And I vote yes. So Rob, do you?
My only comment is I was recused from that meeting, so I wasn't there, but sure, I look good to me.
Okay, or you can abstain if you'd like.
I'll abstain.
Okay, thank you. So motion passes with one abstention. Okay, then I guess we can go right into our main business for tonight. Review of application 2021-01-0401. And Stacy, I think you wanted to you begin with some introductory remarks about the unusual situation we're in with these applications.
Excuse me ahead of time for all the up, down, all around with the screen share, but since everything's in the same PDF packet, this is how we're doing it. Okay. I sent around to all commission members and I have spoken with both of the applicants, but I just, for any public who may be listening in or may be watching this later on YouTube, as a brief explanation, anytime a motor vehicle repair facility or dealership facility wishes to locate in a town, that location has to obtain approval, and based on the size of the municipality, it's dictated whether it goes to planning and zoning for that review or whether it goes to the zoning board of appeals for that review. Based on the size of Thomaston, it comes to you guys at the zoning board of appeals. Now, traditionally, that review has a public hearing held before you, properly noticed per state statute, neighbors noticed, etc. However, for as long as this requirement has been in place, easily at least 15 plus years, there has been confusion as to what exactly the parameters of the public hearing are, whether or not a public hearing was in fact required when the site had previously been approved for a similar use, whether or not the ZBA was the one reviewing versus P&Z in certain situations changed a couple times over the years. So it's been a source of some confusion. Now in 2019, there finally was a case heard on appeal that went up to, I believe, the Connecticut Supreme Court, and clarified a lot of this for us, which is long overdue. And One of the things that came out of that clarification is that if the site had previously been approved for location for a motor vehicle repair and or dealership facility, then it is within the purview of the board and the zoning board of appeals to determine whether or not they want to or feel a public hearing is necessary. So that is new ground for the commission. It's new ground for me. This is a first for me too. I explained all of this to the applicants and explained that since we were in somewhat new territory, how we opted to handle this after reviewing with council is that the typical fee for review before the zoning board of appeals is $495 for any application that you guys hear. That covers my time, that covers noticing, that covers notices in the newspaper, notices, all sorts of stuff, anything that needs to be filed on the land records that is covered in that fee. Since we may or may not be having a public hearing, that's up for you guys to decide. We did not feel it was appropriate to charge the full amount initially. So to start with, we charged $195, which covers my time, Pat's time putting things together, etc. Noticing that we need to do in terms of any decisions I make. If after hearing everything tonight, you determine that you need to have a public hearing, then at that later time, the applicants understand that we would be seeking to recoup the cost of what is necessary in order to do the public hearing under state statute. But I talked with Chairman Skinner earlier today, and I think we agreed that it might be of use to hear what each of the applicants is proposing, take a look at what was previously approved on both sites and see the similarity. And that might factor into whether or not you feel a public hearing is necessary or not. If you do not feel a public hearing is necessary, it is within your purview to issue a determination tonight. If after looking at all of this information, you feel that maybe a public hearing is necessary, then you can make a motion to schedule one. And at that point, my recommendation would be at your February meeting. So I just wanted, again, since we're all kind of in new territory here, I just wanted to make sure we all were on the same page. The email I have up right now is the email from Attorney Byrne. As the board members know, I had sent around on, I believe, Friday, some information from an opinion that I had read from another attorney I've worked with over the years regarding this court case and what it meant for your of these applications. So this is Attorney Byrne's response to me, stating that he reread the case, he reread the opinion. He concurred that the court's determination is that it does allow for ZBA to waive the public requirement where the application concerns a site that was previously approved and also where a previously approved location seeks to add additional property. So basically it's within your purview is what he's saying. And so let me see. I think that's everything. That said, your first application is for 435 South Main Street. The applicant is here. And if Chairman Skinner wants, he could give a brief overview of what they're planning. And then when you'd like me to, I can put up on the screen the information from the previous approval for the site.
Okay, Stacy, yes, I agree. I would like to hear the applicant describe what's planned and as much as he possibly can, any differences from what the previous owner or the difference between the two businesses of his business and the previous owner. So I guess, is this Joe or Justin or both? be present tonight?
Yes, we are.
Okay, and I think everybody's unmuted as well, so.
Okay. So would either Joe or Justin like to go first to explain, describe what it is that they have planned for 435 South Main Street?
Sure. This is Justin. Hi, everyone. I can speak first, and of course, my partner Joe can come in at any time. What we'd like to do there is, and we've all learned in COVID that a lot of things can be done over Zoom and the internet. So our goal is not have a lot of vehicles there, but just have a small used car dealer, mainly dealing in kind of high-end cars. So we wouldn't have a lot of inventory there at all. Maybe a car or two at times. But to have that nice storefront where people can come and meet with us instead of, say, meeting at our homes or something to that effect. And it's a perfect site for it. We feel, as you can see from the picture there, all those cars, I mean, we would have maybe one or two cars outside at the most. So I think that'd be cleaned up pretty significantly there. And Joe, feel free to add anything if you'd like, or we can certainly answer any questions.
And just, I know that you had sent an email and we forwarded it around, but if you wanted to maybe, Mr. Stiles, just give some information again in terms of hours of operation.
Sure.
How much inventory you were planning on having on the lot outside of the building?
Yes, due to them being more higher end cars, I don't think we keep more than one or really two outside the building. Key would be kind of have them inside the building. And then hours, our goal is basically be by appointment. This way, especially during COVID, we can meet people that we feel safely, that is safe to do that.
And if I recall correctly, you mentioned to me that no additional signage or anything else was being proposed. You were just going to be having some sort of signage in the window?
That is correct. Yep.
And were you just going to be doing auto sales, or were you considering any repairs or anything else at this time?
No repairs at this time. And no, in fact, let me just double check. My partner, Joe, just messaged me and said, no, we can't hear him, can we? No, sir.
Yeah, unfortunately, let's see.
I see the smiling face there, but can't
Is
hear
he
him.
one of the phone numbers? Is he the 802 area code?
No, I just scrolled over, Stacy, and he is Joe. His picture is there. He's typing.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, I see that your audio is on. Joe, perhaps you might find it easier to log out and log back in. Sometimes people find that helpful.
Yep.
We'll wait for you.
Yeah, or if you can hear us. Yeah, he's the 802 number, unless that one's going to come in. He's going to dial in a moment.
Okay, because it's muted. The 802 phone number is muted.
Oh, Joe,
he would have to, yeah, he'd have to unmute himself.
Gotcha. 802 is muted if you can hear us, bud. At least with mine, I know if you touch on the screen up top, it should have mute and stop video.
Try star.
Oh,
I think we hear you now. Joe, did you say something? Yeah, you're still muted. Let's see, I'm going to send you an ask to unmute. Okay. I think you unmuted. Can we hear?
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
Perfect. No problem. That's perfect.
Okay. No, so to Justin's point, what I was going to say is this is essentially going to be more of like a boutique dealership than lower volume, higher margin than a higher volume, lower margin dealership. So we're not going to have, 20 cars hanging around the facility. It will be, 2, 4, maybe 6 at best outside. It's certainly lower volume.
And where would you foresee having them located? And if I could just ask whoever, if you're not speaking, to please mute yourself so we don't catch any background conversations. But where, if you had up to that 6 amount, where would you anticipate having them located?
2 on the front, and then the balance would be on the side where those 2 like white vehicles are in the
Right
picture.
over here?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. And I don't know if the members of the board had any questions further, or if you'd like me to pull up the previous approval.
This is Christine. Exactly, we're on South Main Street. I don't know where 435 is. What is to your right and left?
It's on the left. If you're looking at the picture, on the left is an old manufacturing building where they park school buses in the back.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
to the right. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I cut you off. I was just going to say it's to the north of the Tyler Automatics building and right in front of where the bus parking is. It's that small red roofed building right close to the street.
Okay, yeah, it's a rather small building. Yeah, okay. And it has a downstairs, upstairs and downstairs?
Yes,
Yes.
it does.
Okay, I'm familiar with the building then. Okay. Well, I know where it is. Okay.
Yeah, this is Becky. I'm just curious. How many vehicles can you fit inside?
We can fit 3 vehicles up top without parking lifts, and down below you can fit another 2, actually 4 vehicles down below, tandem, 2 on each side.
Mhm. Okay, do other ZBA members have questions of the applicant?
Tom over here. I have one question. This is the only business that will be conducted there?
That's correct.
Thank you.
All repairs, just to be clear, so one of the restrictions for becoming a car dealer is you do have to perform repairs. Our repairs would be performed by either an MGB in town or Quiet Zone. So we would outsource our repairs.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions from ZBA members? Okay, so Stacy, do we need to make a motion to waive the requirement for a public hearing? Does that come from us?
Yeah, I think it would probably, if you are ready to move in that direction, then I would say just for clarity, it probably would be good to make a motion and agree that that you're waiving the public hearing.
This is Tom. I'll make the motion to waive the public hearing.
I'll second it. Rob?
Okay, thank you. Tom has moved and Rob has seconded that the ZBA waive the requirement for a public hearing for this application for motor vehicle certification of location. Rob, how do you vote?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Tom?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. So motion passes. We will waive the requirement for a public hearing. So are there further questions or further discussion? Stacy, you were going to show the previous application.
Sure. Okay, give me one moment to get it up. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. Give me a moment. Okay, here we go. Okay, hopefully now you should see yet another application to the Zoning Board of Appeals. This one was submitted by Rich Gravel. He is, by the way, still the current owner of the building. Mr. Stiles and Mr. Bowden are potentially purchasing the building. Mr. Gravel has submitted to me for the record an email granting them permission to make this application for property that is still currently in his name. But this is the approval that Mr. Gravel had. The application date was November 17, 2016, used car sales. Here is the site plan that had been submitted. It's a little bit, South Main Street is along here. It is slightly different than what the building is more or less in the same location. Some of the layout of the parking is slightly different. But as you can see, he also had been approved for used car sales. That was Mr. Tartaglia. Okay. Yeah, this information is for the other application on your agenda tonight. But this is the information we have in file from the previous application by Mr. Gravel, which had been approved.
Do board members have any further questions of the applicants?
This is Rob. I don't.
This is Tom. I don't. It appears that it's very similar to what we've done in the past.
Right.
Okay. All right. If there are no other comments or questions of the applicants, I'll entertain a motion to approve the location.
This is Christine. I'll make a motion that we approve application number 2021-01-04-01 based on the following information. Whereas the Thomaston Zoning Board of Appeal acts as an agent of the state in approving the location for new and used car dealerships per sections 14-54 and 14-55 of the Connecticut State Statutes. Whereas the Thomaston ZBA has received application 2021-01-04-01 from Joe Bedoin and Justin Stiles requesting motor vehicle certification approval of location for a used car dealership at 435 South Main Street in an M1 light manufacturing zone. Whereas the location was previously approved by the ZBA for the same use, the requirement in section 1455 for public hearing is waived as a prior motion and approval has stated. And whereas the ZBA has reviewed the documents associated with the application, including a brief description of the proposed business and 2 color photographs of the property, one of which is an aerial photograph showing property lines, talked with the applicant and deliberated. This approval of the application 2021-01-04-01 is based on the consideration of the continued suitability of the proposed location for the proposed use, and that the approval will be in harmony with the purpose and intent of the Thomaston zoning regulations, will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community.
Okay, is there a second?
This is Matt. I'll second it.
Okay, motion has been made.
This is
and-
Tom. I'll second the motion.
Oh, thanks, Tom, but I think Matt already did. So,
He beat you to the
Okay.
punch.
okay, so a motion has been made by Christine, seconded by Matt Kamens. And I'm not going to reread the whole motion, but it's a motion to approve the application 2021-01-04-01. How do you vote? Rob?
Aye. Yep.
Christine?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Motion is approved.
Okay, gentlemen, you'll be getting a letter in the mail from me to that effect. And then if you need me to sign any paperwork for you to continue on in your process, just let me know and I will take care of that.
Wonderful.
Okay, great. Thanks you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great
Yeah, thank
Have a
you.
great evening.
Yeah,
Thanks.
good luck with the business.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, we'll move on then to application 2021-01-04-02. This is for motor vehicle certification approval of the location at 196 East Main Street, Suite 3, in an M2 heavy manufacturing zone.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Let's just scroll through. My apologies. Okay, here we go.
And and this is for car repair, correct?
Correct. And Mr. White is on the phone or on the meeting with us. And I believe Mr. Fletcher, the owner of the property, is also on the meeting as well.
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here also.
Okay.
Excuse, this is Christine. One small detail, the copy of the application we're looking at actually gives the number as 2020-01-04-2. But I think that was just a little error.
Yeah, there was a
should be that,
transcription there, and I think
21.
that was, yeah. Yeah,
So-
there was a transcription error there.
We just want to be sure, we clear that it actually has this year's date on it. 2021. Mhm.
So, Mr. White, maybe perhaps if you wanted to just give a brief overview to the commission of your plans for, I believe it's Suite 3 at 196 East Main Street.
Yes, it's Suite 3. We're just going to be doing small vehicle repairs, brakes, rotors, axles, bearings, tire mounting, balancing, oil changes. And, it comes with the dealer's license, but we weren't thinking too much. I'm sure we'll be getting a car here and there, but we're not going to be buying tons of cars.
Okay, and similar for the commission, for the board, just so you know, similar to the last application you heard, I do have the previous approval available for you to review if you'd like. It is for the same exact suite. And that approval actually had, I can bring it back up, but I believe that that previous approval actually was doing more sales in addition to repairs than what Mr. White just indicated.
Okay.
this
Yes,
is-
Stacy, I would like to see the other application just to see if there's we can
Sure.
identify any possible differences between this
Absolutely.
application and
Okay,
Oh,
bear with
also,
me
this
one second.
Christine, has this location recently been used that way, or has it been empty recently?
Mr. Fletcher or Mr. White?
What? What's the address that you have here that the application is going for?
196 East Main Street, Suite 3.
Okay, so that the suite has been empty for probably 6-8 months. Prior to that, it was just used for storage, and then the tenant before that was the one that was doing the auto repair.
And
So there's
that
been one tenant in between.
okay. And up now on the screen is an application that had been approved back in 2012 for a Mr. Joseph Tartaglia, buying and selling used cars.
This is 196 Suite 3.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a different
You got
number on there,
194
and it
there.
got, yeah, then it looks like it got corrected. And then here's a statement of use that Mr. Tartaglia had submitted as a part of that approval. And you might, if I can ask you to speak to that, Mr. White, the hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 to noon. Buying and selling used cars and trucks and repairing cars and trucks. At any one time, there won't be more than 12 cars on site. Would you say what you're doing is substantially fitting into what Mr. Tartaglia had been doing?
Yeah, I mean, we'd probably spend an extra hour on the weekdays, maybe stay till 6, possibly 7. But Yeah, I mean, we won't even have 12 cars, so yeah, there would never be any more than that.
You know, I'd just like to interrupt here for 1 second. This was the suite that he is going into is not Tartaglia's suite. Tartaglia was in 194, suite 3. The tenant previous to this was a Stephen, I don't have his name. It's over here. Scroll up a little bit. This building right here is 194. This building here is 190. Okay, the building that you got your mouse on, right, is 194. No,
Okay.
no, right there.
This
where it says
one?
suite 3, yes, that's 194. The one alongside the railroad tracks,
On
down the bottom. The
lower.
bottom,
Yep.
Oh, here?
that's 196.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so it's not the same location.
Not as Tartaglia. It's Stephen. It was he was doing automotive diesel repair. And I know he went in front of you because he had gotten fined and then he got the approval.
Okay. My apologies then if we got the wrong one here. This is what we had and it was suite 3 and I guess maybe we grabbed the wrong one.
So they have, so this, Christine, so those buildings have 2 different numbers. That's how we can distinguish between them.
It has 2 different numbers as far as the post office is concerned. The post office wanted to apply 2 different numbers because it's 2 different buildings. It's one building lot. As far as the town is concerned, it's 196.
This is unfortunately a frequent point of contention that the post office gives several numbers out, but we can only go by the actual number for the lot. So that I suspect is partially where the confusion is.
Okay,
So we don't, so Stacy, we don't actually have information in front of us that gives us the details.
Yeah, this, I thought we had the correct one in front of us. Apparently we do not have I'd have, and I am not at the office.
I apologize, Eric, for not being aware of this, you know, but
Yeah.
I didn't want it to go further and then have somebody throw a
No,
wrench
and
in
we
it.
certainly appreciate your honesty. And again, I do apologize too. I thought I had the right one. But
Oh,
I don't know what you would like.
Yeah, well, perhaps, let's see, Mr. White could go into a little more detail with regard to hours and number of cars.
Excuse me
and
1 minute.
type of repairs.
Yes, we'll be there, you know, Monday through Friday, 8 to 6 p.m., 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. You know, we won't be doing any major repairs like motor jobs or transmission jobs. It'll just be, you know, mostly mechanical of car parts. You know, I'm sure we'd be doing alternators or water pumps, but not full motor jobs. You know, mostly undercarriage stuff. But, you know, we'll definitely be selling some cars. Like Justin, the other applicant, said, you know, today with the COVID, online is a big way to sell cars. So I'm sure we'll be buying a few cars to sell online. And it's not really a high traffic area. It's down underneath the bridge where the old Chapman lumber was, underneath the bridges by Krabby L's. So it's not, you know, it's in the very back. It's a dead end. So it's not a really high traffic area to sell cars on.
Okay, and where would the cars, either waiting for repair or waiting for sale, be parked in relation to what we now know is the building, the long, narrow building by the railroad tracks?
There's a few outside parking spots, but I also rent 2 garage spaces down there just for personal use that I could also park vehicles in. And those 2 other garage spaces would hold up to about 6 or 7 vehicles.
Okay, so most of the cars would be inside then?
Yes. Yeah, maybe, you know, 2 or 3 outside at the most.
Okay, other questions from other board members?
I have just a quick comment. This is Rob. Eric, I'm just looking over your application, and not to be a nitpick, but like I just seen it, you know, the date was incorrect, 2020, and that was on us. But it was checked off in an M1 district, and isn't it an M2 district? And we have no address or phone number, no way to contact you on the application. And we don't have the owner's name and address on the application. And also for the purpose of you put auto repair, and it probably should say auto repair and occasional car sales or something like that.
If I may, that's not on him. He submitted a complete application that was in our office.
So we can correct that?
Yes, that was not him. He did submit a complete application. That was not on him. We made a duplicate copy, and the lack of completeness on the duplicate copy is from our office, not from Mr.
Okay.
White.
All right, good.
So this is Christine again. So,
I'm a little nervous there for a second.
No, I think I do apologize, Mr. White.
No,
As,
that's
you know,
fine. I understand.
okay, so this Christine again. So 196 East Main Street is mentioned as the address. That covers the entire lot, even though there are two buildings there. So the whole lot area is 2.4 acres, not the space you're occupying.
Correct.
Correct.
That's the everything. for
It's more
everybody.
than 2.4. I think it's 3. I think it's a little over 3.
I mean, there are a few other businesses on that lot. And those
Correct.
between those
Yes.
two buildings, there's a few different businesses.
Yep.
Yes.
Pelletier and
Yeah, there's
And Mr. Fletcher's been very good coming in as each of the spaces gets filled. He's great contacting us and making sure any necessary approvals get done as are required per the zoning regs.
Yeah, so yeah, Pelletier is there and also Cover Safe, right?
Cover Safe.
correct.
Mhm.
Cover Safe occupies about 3/4 of the space down there.
Yeah, they've been expanding, haven't they?
Yeah, he started well, it's years ago, just parking trucks in the driveway, and he's grown to what he is today. It's amazing there's that many pool covers needed, but
Wow.
yes.
Yeah, well, he does a very specialized kind of cover. It's not the most
Yeah.
the ordinary
Yeah.
thing that most people might think of.
Yeah.
Um,
It's an automatic cover.
yeah.
But it is the same physical address as the one that was approved. And the one that was, the tenant that was in there prior was a Stefan. His last name is Zeccara.
Which obviously I will make sure, we'll go back and try and find some of that tomorrow. Now, just for clarity, Mr. Fletcher, the suite 3 that I brought up that obviously is not the subject of this, is that still operational or is that something else? Or is that closed?
Mr. Tartaglia isn't in there. Coversar is.
Okay,
He's engulfed. He has 3 suites in that
Okay.
building. Pelletier's the only other one in that building,
okay.
which the post office calls 194.
So in reality, there had been 2 approvals in place for your property, but now there would effectively be,
One.
okay,
There'd be only one that would be currently doing automotive repair.
gotcha.
Okay, and Mr. Fletcher, based on Mr. White's description of his plans for his business, do you see any major differences between what he has planned and what the previous?
Nah, there's none. There's no. The other tenant was in there. He was doing truck repair, not big trucks, pickup trucks, diesel trucks. And he was repairing that, but he was doing physically the same thing, brakes, tune-ups, that type of stuff. It's the same thing. And it's the same thing as what Tartaglia was really doing too. What Tartaglia was mainly doing on his own vehicles. Well, he was doing it on other ones too, so.
So it sounds like, yeah, even though it is essentially similar work, it maybe is perhaps a net decrease in intensity of what's going on from what had previously been approved on site.
Yes. Yeah, it'll be a decrease. And it's also out back. It's not up front.
Okay, other board members have any questions for the applicant or Mr. Fletcher?
I don't have any questions.
Stacy, it's
I don't have any
Christine. Since the law allows us to waive the public hearing requirement if the location was previously used in a similar fashion. So is that what do we have evidence of that actually? I mean, he made mention of some of this past stuff, but do we actually?
I don't have that in front of you right now tonight. I'd have to obviously go back and find that for the specific location on the property that we now have clarified is proposed. We have evidence of a previous approval on the property, obviously not in exactly the same space, but it is from previous approval from on the property.
What I would like to see from my tenant is so he's not paying for a space and not being able to utilize it. I mean, like any other landlord would want for his tenant, is to move forward so he's not going to be pushed ahead 3 months before he gets approval to be in there. I mean, because if we wait now to February to say, yes, he needs a public hearing, then you're going to come back in March. So he's not going to be able to get in there until, sometime in April.
I mean, there's a couple of different ways the commission can go forward. If they feel comfortable with the idea that this is actually a net decrease in intensity, and in fact, we're going from 2 locations down to 1 on the same identified property and waiving a public hearing from that standpoint, that's one option. If you really would prefer to have that information in front of you about the exact same location on Mr. Fletcher's property, then I can do that. And then maybe we could consider scheduling a special meeting if you thought that you wanted to do that.
This is Tom. I'm inclined to look at it as the property and not the building. I don't know how the other members feel about that, but it's on the property. This is unusual that usually we approve the building and the property. It's all in one. Here we have a piece of property with a number of buildings. But my interpretation for me right now would be we'll be approving it or disapproving it, but we'll be dealing with the property in a building that's located on a property. And I'll defer to any other members who may see it the same or differently.
This is Christine again. So can we then actually take the usage that he's asking us to approve, take it from the other building and move it to the building he wants to occupy with that usage, and then cancel it in that original location so someone else can't claim it in the future?
Well, they wouldn't actually be able to claim per se, if you know what I mean, because they too would have to, each new potential owner has to come and get an approval from you guys. So if anybody did later on want to come and do a second one of these on Mr. Fletcher's property in that former Tartaglia space or in another space on Mr. Fletcher's property, they would still have to regardless come back to you guys.
And we could at that point deny them that option if we.
And you would be able to evaluate at that point their application on the merits.
So they couldn't
similarly.
Okay, so they can't piggyback off the original use of that building because it's obviously being used for different purposes now.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Right now, currently, CoverSafe has a lease with Fletcher Realty to the year 2027 for that space that you're talking about.
Yeah. So they're not leaving anytime soon, and Pelletier probably has no reason to leave anytime soon. So that building will be occupied with the current occupants for quite a while, probably.
I mean, yeah, but we've had tenants in there that signed multi-year leases and they leave in 6 months, because something happens.
Sure, of course. No, but as Stacy said, we have the option in the future to decide what to do if someone else should step forward to make use of the 194 building for a similar activity, auto repair / sales or truck repair / sales. So we still, our hands are not tied. We can choose how to make, what decision to make in the future if someone should come forward to make such. a
Correct.
request.
If there was a free space on Mr. Fletcher's property later and someone wished to make use of it for something that required a location approval, they'd still have to come back to you as the new owner of whatever new business they're hoping to locate there.
So I agree with Tom, then I'm comfortable with saying it's all one lot. It just happens to be shifted to the other building. I'm comfortable with that. Calling it the same thing.
Okay, and really, that's just the issue of whether we're waiving the public hearing.
Correct.
You know, if another applicant comes for one of the other buildings, then, you know, it'd be a new application. And based on this history, we probably would not review the application without having a public hearing. So,
And that's, yeah, you might
Yeah.
very well make that choice at that point. Yes.
mhm.
Yeah, so as I said, this is Christine again, I'm comfortable with considering that one lot and not being concerned about exactly where in the lot that business will be located.
Mhm.
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay. This is Becky. I am too. Anybody else have? Matt, you haven't weighed in?
I agree. No, I agree with Tom, and as it's being one property.
And this is Robin. I agree also.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to waive the public hearing on this. And I guess actually, Stacy, before we go with the motion, can you clarify, is it M2 or M1?
It is, bear with me. I'm just going to go straight to the source and pull up the zoning map. Okay.
Which is the least strict, M1?
They're actually fairly close.
I thought this was the least restrictive zoning we had. From talking to you, Stacy, I think it's M1, but I may be wrong.
So hang on one second. I'm just pulling it up right now.
Well, M2 allows you to do almost anything. On the
Okay, so
property.
then it's M2 then.
M1 has some restrictions, not that.
Okay,
you
so
can tell,
then it's M2. Yeah, right there, zoning M2.
M2. Okay, I can see M2.
and that's what you want then.
Yeah, okay,
Better
so,
with
yeah. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to waive the public hearing.
This is Tom, I'll make the motion to waive the public hearing.
Christine, I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and second that we waive the requirement for a public hearing for application 2021-010402. How do you vote, Rob?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes,
Matt?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. So we have waived the requirement for a public hearing for this application. Any further questions of the applicant or the property owner before we entertain a motion to act on the application?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so whoever would like to can go ahead and make a motion. Notice that if you're using my template, I think I used M1 instead of M2.
This is Christine. I make a motion that we approve application 20-21-01-04-02 based on the following information. Whereas the Thomaston Zoning Board of Appeals acts as an agent of the state in approving that location for vehicle repairs per sections 14-54 and 14-55 of the Connecticut State Statutes. Whereas the Thomaston ZBA has received application 2021-01-04-02 from Eric White requesting motor vehicle certification approval of location for an auto repair business at 196 East Main Street in an M2 light, heavy manufacturing zone. Whereas the location was previously approved by the ZBA for the same use, the requirement in section 14-55 for public hearing is waived, as we already agreed on, and voted on. And whereas the ZBA has reviewed the documents associated with the application, a colored aerial photograph of the property showing property lines, talked with the applicant and deliberated. This approval of the application 2021-01-04-02 is based on the consideration of the continued suitability of the proposed location for the proposed use, and that the approval will be in harmony with the purpose and intent of the Thomaston zoning regulations. It will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community.
Okay, a second.
This is Matt. I'll second it.
Okay. Okay, a motion has been made by Christine and seconded by Matt to approve application 2021-01-04-02. All those in favor of the motion, no, actually, we'll do a roll call. Rob?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Tom, yes.
Tom, yes. Matt?
Yes.
Okay, and Becky votes yes as well. Okay, motion passes.
Awesome.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
so
you.
Great.
similarly, we'll be sending you a letter, and if you need any paperwork signed, just feel free to stop in and we'll get that taken care of for you.
Thank you all.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep, good luck.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Okay, we ready to move to the meeting schedule?
Can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
That would be on the previous application. So Stacy, this paperwork that's got the missing information stuff, that will be updated for our files?
Yes, we do have, at the time we sent around, we could not, the application was accidentally placed in with other
Sure.
documents. And so in the name of, we knew we had an application, we knew we paid the fee. We wanted to get something out to you on Friday. We have since got located where we put it.
Correct.
So,
Okay. That was my question.
yeah, no, and it's a good question, sharp eye.
Okay, schedule of meetings for 2021. I did not go through and verify all the dates. I don't know, Christine, did you?
Oh, I trusted Stacy to have it correct.
Okay. Okay, well,
Thank you. I don't think anything jumped out as a conflict with any holidays or anything else like that. So unless you have an issue, I mean, keep in mind that there's nothing saying that a meeting can't get canceled if there's no business or anything else at a later point in time, but there wasn't any real overlap with any holidays or anything else like that.
And we can always modify the schedule if need
As
be.
needed. Yep,
Not meet on the regular schedule thing and have a special meeting instead.
correct.
Always do that if need to be. I move that we accept the schedule of meetings for 2021 for the Zoning Board of Appeals of Thomaston as presented by our staff.
This is Tom. I'll second it.
it's been moved and seconded that we approve the list of meeting dates for 2021. How do you vote, Rob?
Yes.
Christine?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And Becky votes yes as well. Okay, motion passed. Okay, Stacy, do you have any communications or?
Not at current moment, except to let you know, you do while there's no variance applications in the hopper that I am aware of, you may have a meeting next month for a potential appeal of an enforcement order.
Okay. I guess I have just a question about, are we all set as far as officers? That's not something that's done in every January or anything, is it?
I have to double check on the, To be perfectly frank, I haven't checked bylaws or anything else like that. I can double check that. I mean, unless somebody else is aware if you do that every January, because otherwise I know you guys did have elections.
Yeah, that was
Probably
kind
a
of
little
recent, wasn't it?
sooner than that because of Jamie's retirement from the commission.
Yeah, we just did that recently, but
Yeah, that was in this, feels like it was, recently, but it was actually in the spring, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What I will
No,
do is
know.
I can double check and see if there's any bylaws requiring you to have something on a more set scheduled basis. And if so, we can definitely put that on the agenda for February, if indeed you do wind up having a February meeting.
Okay, yeah, I could have looked that up myself, Stacy, but I just thought of it now, so.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a very good question, because I know, like, for instance, wetlands, they have it in their bylaws that they do certain things at every January meeting. So it's a good question.
Mhm.
I was thinking about that too. I had it in the back of my mind, but I didn't think it was the most important thing, so I didn't bring it up. But no, I'm glad you did, Becky, because we
Yeah.
should overlook that.
Right, okay. All right, does anybody else have any other business that would to discuss tonight?
No.
Okay, well, I thank everyone. And
I move that we adjourn the meeting at this point.
okay, second.
I will second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. So all in favor, actually, anybody opposed? Why don't I do it that way? No, nobody's opposed. So everybody says yes. So again, thank you very much. And looks like we'll meet again possibly in February. So
Hey, we got done before 8 p.m. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
yes,
Very good.
go watch the rest of the basketball game.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you,
You too.
everybody.
Good night.
Thank you for your help, Stacy.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
You
Bye-bye.
make us look good.
Right.
Well, that's very easy to do. You guys know what you're doing. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Good night.
Wait. I thought I ended it. What happened here?